Welcome to the Getting to the Root of It podcast, where our mission is to unearth the power and potential of the CBD hemp wellness industry. Grab a seat as we root out the myths from the marketing and discover the science-backed benefits of this popular plant medicine. Hosts Bob Finnegan and Sarah Nilsson shoot it to you straight to help you make educated choices regarding hemp-based wellness.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Getting to the Root of It with Sarah and Bob. Bob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's fun, my favorite time of year.
Is it?
Pumpkin. Yeah, I'm all about pumpkin spice and fall and.
I was going to say, I pegged you for a pumpkin spice guy. Like candles, lattes.
Oh my God,
all
the
of
whole
it.
Thing. Yeah.
You're that guy that's like, guess what today is?
No shame in this game. No shame in my fall game.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I'm glad that we're here today and we have a really special guest that Bob and I are really excited to be able to chat with today. He is an author, 6 books. I mean, there's authors, like, hey, I got a book, but then there's like authors, right? I've got 6. I got so much to say. I couldn't put it all in one book. So we've got 6 books. He's a coach. He's a consultant. 6. He's a public speaker, and he's been in the industry for decades. I don't mean to embarrass you when I say that. Decades.
He started when he was really young. I think.
Exactly. Just a baby. And he's really bridges the gap between the corporate side of the industry and the field side of the industry. He's been very instrumental in helping leaders as well as corporate executives really navigate this abyss of social selling and direct sales. So we're really excited to have the one and only Rob Sperry on with us today. Hey, Rob.
Hey, I'm excited to be on. It'll be a little confusing for you, right, Sarah? You got Bob and Rob, and I've been called all of it. I've been called Bobbert, Bobby, Robbie, Robert, Roberto. So you can call me whatever you want.
It's funny, Rob, that you say that. I they always ask, one of those questions like, do you have a nickname? And I'm like, I think I have 1,000 nicknames. Fun Bobby, Bobby Finn, Rob, Robbie. Finnislant. My last name is Finnegan, so Finnegano. That you get all of these like variations. So we'll just wing it. Or I'll rebrand during the
rebranding. Yeah, I didn't have nicknames growing up because Sarah is just Sarah. So I used to make my own nicknames and try to get my friends to call me them because I felt sort of left out of the loop.
Well, maybe we can come up with a nickname for you by the end of the episode.
You better not, Rob. Or Bob. Let's just not. Let's leave that.
So you're already getting her on.
So I'm super stoked to have you on. Thanks for your time. Rob, this industry is so multifaceted. There's so much going on. It's ever changing. It's all the time, 24/7. And it's not that often that you have somebody that's really been experienced and had success sort of navigating all parts of it. So before we get into kind of what you're up to now, you want to just sort of tell us a little bit about your journey. Like where the heck did you come from? How'd you get here?
Yeah, so my journey started out, I live here in Utah, and it feels like in Utah, if you haven't been approached by at least 5 or 6 different network marketing companies that you don't have friends, because there's one every block. It's like the capital. And so I was always around it, but I always thought it's very contrary to my style and my personality. I grew up very soft-spoken, very introverted, and so much so that, even nowadays someone calls me, I'm like, what are you doing calling me? Text me. Like, I'm a textrovert, right? There's introverts and there's extroverts. So, that's kind of a little bit of background. But from that, I was the tennis guy. I played semi-professional tennis, played college tennis, taught tennis. I ran a tennis club. I thought it was my dream job. I did that from age 24 to 28 years old. And at the tennis club, I quickly realized that my goals and my dreams of running a tennis club wasn't really going to achieve my true goals and dreams, which my favorite quote of all time is now become my mantra: die with memories, not with dreams. My dad always spent so much time with us, just traveling all over for different things like tennis tournaments and vacations and stuff. And he was always there. So I thought, I got to find something else. And at the tennis club, where better to find incredible mentors? And so I would go to all these successful people and say, what'd you do? How'd you make your money? What are you currently doing? And because I was the tennis coach, they were so kind. They would invite me over to their homes and I could pick their brains. And we're talking several of these people. I can think of 5 off the top of my head that were worth well over $100 million. And so I felt like I got the best mentorship. And
what
really
tennis club were you working at? Dang.
Oh, well, it's a lot of tennis clubs, actually. It's like a common theme at most tennis clubs. It's like golf and tennis. It's great. And I'd always heard that, but never really knew that. And so long story short, I met someone there at the tennis club that mentored me for 3 years. He was part of network marketing. I didn't know that because he was so retired that he never even mentioned it. He just talked about all his real estate deals and, commercial real estate, land development, hard money loans, different things like that. But he came to me 3 years later and just said, hey, you've shown the knack, you've shown the willingness. He said, if you stay at the tennis club, that's great, but you're going to be the exact same place except for your knees are going to be tired. Your voice is going to be tired 10 years from now. He said, so I got something better. So I'm thinking, we're going to do real estate. This is going to be awesome. And he told me it was network marketing. And then he told me
dun, dun, dun.
It was skincare. I'm like, I'm in my 20s. You're telling me it's skincare? Like, I never grew up, at the sandbox thinking someday I'm going to do skincare network marketing. It's going to be amazing. And so he really painted the picture, though, and the vision of creating that, residual type income. And that he also said something I want to point out is he said, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. Mm-hmm. He said, it's going to be the most worthwhile. He said, you're going to grind, but someday, he said, every day is going to be a birthday. Every day is going to be like an anniversary. And that vision just really stuck with me throughout. And so I got started, and then, as the rest is history. It's a lot of highs, a lot of lows where I wanted to cry when I saw my paycheck so small for the amount of work I did. I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And so I went through those. I just think I went through those highs and lows that most people go through in a matter of 20 years. I went through in 2 or 3 years. I just accelerated the failures, which also accelerated the successes.
It's interesting that you say that too, because this is back, several years ago, obviously, and someone approaches you that, you look at as somebody who's successful. And then he's like, okay, what are we going to do? And he's like, network marketing. And you have that feeling wash over you like, wait, what? Wait, no, is that not, whatever? Is that a pyramid scheme? Is that, all the things? Do you find that still being in the industry, do you find that perception is still very real, or do you feel like it's not as prevalent as it was back when you were introduced to it?
I would say it's a little bit of both. It's probably right in between. So I think the perception's definitely better as people have more and more looked for the financial freedom. Also, I think people have gotten a lot better on social media. I call them the Spamela Pamelas. Everybody was just being spammy Pammy and spamming everybody. And it's like, join my business, right? Buy my products. And people get on social media to be social, not to be sold every second. And so there's creative ways you've got to do that. And I think people have gotten a lot better. Are there always going to be those people that either don't get it or don't care? Of course. But overall, I think that's helped a ton. I also think that the perception is starting to shift. It takes time to catch up, but network marketing about 5 years ago made a strong shift to focus more on the customer. Whereas before it was always just build, customers are worthless. And that was really bad. And now it's shifted to, being so much about taking care of the customer. And this isn't talked about, but I think Amazon changed the game where network marketing companies had to really step up their game on providing value for the products that they were providing to the marketplace to compete, because people can just buy what they want when they want. I mean, if something doesn't show up at my door, 2 or 3 packages from Amazon every day, I'm like, what's going on? It's
right. As a society in general, we've gotten so used to this like instant gratification, instant feedback, instant, results. Like Amazon, yes. Like I've done that. I'm like ordering on Amazon. It's like, what do you mean I'm not getting it till Monday? Like, what the heck? Like, try again, Amazon. Like, I need this right now. I want it by 5:00. Or even with social media, and in the kids these days, it's like if they put up a post and they're checking and reach how many likes. And that's how we just live in that sort of.
It's addictive. Yeah.
It's crazy. And so in an industry, like it's interesting because in an industry like this, like what we're talking about, there's a lot that goes into building the foundation, elevating your skills, building relationships, nurturing those relationships, and there isn't that instant gratification. But when you, like what you're talking about, if you can commit to the process and be consistent, then, it's a much shorter amount of time before you're enjoying all the things, right? If you're doing it right and have a good product and a solid plan and all that. But versus, okay, or I can go punch 8 to 5 and I know exactly how much money I'm making. I know when I get to take vacation. I know when I get lunch, and I know I'm going to be here in 30 years, right? This is a completely different mindset.
Yeah, it's a get rich slow in some ways, but in other ways, it actually is get rich fast. And people are like, well, what do you mean? You just said it's get rich slow. Well, let's say that it did take you 7 years. 7 years can feel like a long time. And 7 years where you're focused on this part-time, but you're truly focused and you're truly doing the income-producing activities. I'm not making guarantees. I'm not making promises. I'm just giving an example. What else could you do 7 years from now where you collect some sort of, check that is a good amount of residual check? I mean, you put it in perspective. I just bought 2 pieces of real estate, and I cash flow about $400 to $500 a month. It was $300,000. I had to put 20% down, so I put $60,000 down, and then there were some things I had to fix up with it. And so you look at it, and that's my residual on it, and I just pray the renters don't bail. I pray the renters pay their rent on time, all that good stuff. They don't break stuff. But I'm just giving perspective on it is 7 years actually is get rich fast. We're just used to, we think really fast because we compare it to those huge examples where someone just took off in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that, but it's not typical to happen that fast. And when you can shift your perspective and trade, as Tony Robbins says, trade your expectations for appreciation, it can make all the difference.
Right.
What's interesting to me, Rob, and I think, for many, I guess you having the Utah background, as you said, there's a lot more commonality or familiarity with that type of industry. Some good, perception-wise, some bad, probably everywhere in between. Everybody's got their own story. But go back to that first conversation and now look where you are. How did that? How do you normalize that, make it authentic? There was, in my estimation and candidly point of view, before I personally entered in the industry, I had maybe a negative perception, a lot of hype, a lot of hyperbole, a certain amount of egos, but being, driving success and not falling victim to any of those things. How would you say that first conversation, sort of converted you in a way, both emotionally and mentally, to depart from what your dream was, and then how do you stay true to that?
Yeah, I think it was a process. Of course, at the beginning you hope, and you got a small vision, and then you've got to just like a plant, right? You got to water, you got to nurture. It's got to have sun. It's got to be in the right soil, and that vision grew. That vision started out as a seed. And of course it was challenged. I mean, my 5th month inside network marketing, I had quit a job way too soon. That's a story for another day. I worked about 80 hours a week. My check was less than $400 for the month. So I joke around that I could have made minimum wage anywhere, and I would have been filthy rich compared to what I made in network marketing. And that's when my vision was massively challenged. And I looked at it and I asked myself, you know what, is this something that if I stick with, I really believe will happen? And as I thought about it, I started looking for evidence. And the evidence I found was all the other people that had had success. Some took 13 years. Some were overnight successes. And I thought, well, it's definitely possible. And it definitely can happen if I stick to it. And that's where I had to truly marry the process and date the results. Because, yeah, results are important to learn from. And as I did that, that helped. But I still had that stigma when I started of being embarrassed that I was doing network marketing. So much so that even after I had made 7 figures in network marketing, I still didn't have one post pertaining to anything, alluding to anything network marketing. My first 5 years. Think about that. Wow. That's how long it took me to chip away, because I eventually knew what it was, but I was so worried about the perception of what others thought it was. And so it wasn't an overnight thing for me. We all have different limiting beliefs. I had a massive fear of judgment. I'm a recovering people pleaser. And that's taken a long time to overcome. But it definitely, I like to just point out, definitely was a process. And I definitely had those foggy days where I had those massive doubts. Am I really doing the right thing? Should I just do something else? Is it really worth all the pain of being judged and being rejected and the fear of the unknown? And I want to point that out as well. That's one of the hardest parts of just not knowing when. That's why I think people are okay with some of these professions that take 10, 12, 15 years of schooling, because they feel like they have a certain amount of certainty of what they'll make, right? Whereas and when. Network marketing, you don't know. Fear of the unknown. 6 months, it's going to be 6 years, it's going to be 16 years, and how much is it going to be? And people just freak out and panic. And so, I went through all of that. I was a drama king on the inside. On the outside, I acted all tough and macho, but on the inside, I was a massive drama king.
Well, this is a no drama zone, Rob.
Yeah.
So
leave your drama at the door, Rob.
Well, glad you didn't interview me like 10 years ago.
Well, so 5 years of kind of battling that emotionally, staying consistent, staying true to your values, really, it sounds like working with some incredible leaders and mentors who, could help you navigate and educate and inspire you in the right way. And then did you make your first post on social media? What was that post, and what was that epiphany?
Yeah, I think I just started posting about an event that we had and different things, and then started kind of easing into it. And then after that, I started focusing more on just value. There was never a pitch or anything like that, but just what I loved about the profession and different things the profession provided for me, different myths and things like that. But it was a great learning lesson, because I believe the objections that network marketers get the most is their own insecurities being magnified. Because if money's not an issue and someone says they don't have money, you're just like, oh, that's okay. If you really believe in this, you'll figure it out, just like any business investment, right? Or any product you really want, or how people buy the iPhone even when they're broke. But on the other side, when you have that objection in your own mind, your own insecurity, it's like becomes really louder. So someone whispers it, and it's a little objection they have, and you feel like they're yelling at you because your own insecurity is magnified. I remember I think it was my first or second month in network marketing, this top realtor, I'm pitching her, and I swear I talked about how great network marketing was for 40 minutes. Probably was only 10, but felt like 40. And she says to me, she stops me, she says, Rob, I love network marketing. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh my goodness. I just magnified all my insecurities on her. So it was a great learning lesson.
Isn't that funny too? And in my career, I've had those situations where when you hear somebody say back to you like, oh, I believe in the channel. You're like, you do? Like, oh, you're my people. Like, I can skip over that whole part, but it's true what you say, because I know that a lot of what we hear too is things like, I'm not a salesperson, or I don't want to be pushy or salesy or whatever. And if that's your own insecurity because you don't want to be sold to, or you don't like it when people approach you with, wanting to buy something, then you automatically think nobody wants to hear my spiel on how much I love this or that. But yet we're doing that all day long, every day anyway, right? Here's a great burger joint. Here's a great yoga instructor. Here's a perfect hairstylist. We're recommending things that we see value in all day long, but it's just that shift in perspective when we start feeling the arrows going in, like what's in it for me if if you do A, B, or C, right? And so it's definitely kind of that getting out of our own way, if we have any chance at longevity here, is really remembering, what the value is, and believing in ourself, believing in our product, and then, hey, if it's not for you, that's cool, right? We're still buddies, sort of. I'm going to tell you I told you so later, but
I'll send you postcards from everywhere and I'll tag you on social media, right? But yeah, we're still good. We're good. No big deal. Didn't hurt my feelings at all.
Yeah. Speaking of social media, you've been around long enough to see that go from pretty much nothing, non-existent, right? We were just talking earlier about MySpace, or, remember unplugging your phone so you could plug in your computer and, wait for it to dial up and all of that, to where we are now, where, nothing happens if it's not happening on social media, right? So what do you see as the pros and cons of that? Like, what do you see as, as the positives to how that's played out? And then also some of the things that, maybe a crutch for some people as far as social media goes.
Yeah, it's like everything. Our greatest strengths are typically our greatest weaknesses. And the greatest strength is social media can enhance everything. So if you're truly doing the income producing activities now, right, we never want to run out of leads or contacts. Now you have more people. We want to stay in contact with people. Now it's easier to do that. Now you have more people that you can quickly reach out to. And so the process has just been sped up. But the problem with it is the weakness is the social media black hole. Now you've got people that will get on, right, the scroll patrol, as I call it, where they're on Facebook or they're on the gram, right? And it's like all this happens to me still, all of us. All of a sudden, an hour later, you're like, what just happened? Where am I sitting? Mm-hmm. Where have I been, right? It's like, it's just crazy. People are in the restroom, sitting on the toilet, and all of a sudden they lose circulation and realize they've been sitting there for 40 minutes, and they're thinking to themselves, geez, I'm on the scroll patrol now. And so that also is the weakness, because now people can get caught up and they can get easily distracted, where what could be a strength becomes a massive time waster. And they feel like, well, I was on social media for 2 hours, Sarah. Bob, I worked so hard. And you say, okay, well, how many new people
very
did you
busy.
talk to? They're like, I don't know, but I liked and loved and I hearted and commented on, at least 122 people's posts. Yeah, but how many new people did you invite? Oh, nobody today, but tomorrow I'll do a little better. And they just get caught up in that, that
I'm laying the groundwork.
Yeah. Setting the stage.
I'm building rapport. That's so true. And then you can also hide behind it, right? In the sense that, if maybe one of your challenges is, talking to people or one-on-one connection or being actively interested or whatever. And it's like, oh, well, I can just be on social media and I don't have to talk to anyone, or I don't have to, be seen. I can, just type a few things here and there and send it out into the abyss and hope that something comes back to me. And that's not necessarily the most effective approach for social media, right?
100%. And it's going to take time for people, but I just love when people can, set time limits on different things. They can track it. Yesterday I had just a massive focus day, and I had to log out of every single social media platform because I didn't need it for what I was doing for work. And you got to do that. And sometimes if you're going to get on social media, great. Create your purpose. Maybe write down your purpose of what you're going to do and spend 20 minutes and go do it. And then after that, get off. But stop being reactive. You got to start being proactive. And I get it. It's easier said than done, because my instinct, if I've got nothing to do, is I just go click on social media, right? I'm clicking on stories. I'm clicking on posts. And it's so easy to not be deliberate and get caught up in the scroll patrol.
Yeah. And it can be, literally attached to your it's like part of your appendage, right? Your phone or whatever. Weren't we talking about this before, Bob, where back in the day, and Rob, we're all about the same age-ish, so you can kind of relate to this, I'm sure, too. But, you used to leave the house for whatever, grocery shopping, vacation, and you nobody was talking to you while you were gone, right? Either you weren't connected. Nobody knew what you were doing. Nobody knew what you were eating. Nobody
or
knew
could find you. Yeah.
where you were. And you came home and you checked your answering machine, and it was like, oh, I got 3 messages in 2 weeks that now I know for myself, if I make it to the elevator and I don't have my phone, I'm like, oh, where's my phone? Did I leave it? I got to go back. Like, I can't even go to the gas station without going back and getting my phone and checking it 5 times on the way. So and I'm probably not even proud of that. Like, it's probably, as I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, whoa, Sarah, you got an issue. This is another podcast we need to talk about.
This tends to be the Sarah therapy session, Rob.
Yes,
so
yes. Sorry, Rob. You have to witness this. This is going down. But it's true, and there's definitely advantages and disadvantages to that. But I think that in network marketing and social selling, we still have to remember that this is a relationship business, and some relationships can be, found or created on social media, sure, but at some point we still have to have that. And I think we still crave that kind of person to person, look in your eyes, touch, all of that. I mean, it's still a thing, right? I mean, to build a business like this.
Yeah, it's always going to be a thing, and everyone's going to find their style. Everyone's going to find what fits their personality best as they go, but you can't substitute, especially events. It's like the difference between listening to music in your car or being at an incredible concert. No matter how good the music is in the car, it's not the same. And when you try to describe it, you can't. Like, think about it. You go to a great concert. Someone says, how was the concert? Amazing. Well, tell me about it. Oh, the atmosphere. And you should have seen this song and what they were wearing. You can't even do it justice. It's like the same thing of going on vacation to somewhere that's incredible. You try to talk about, oh, the sand was so soft and the sunsets were amazing. And they're like, you keep saying the word amazing. You just got to be there. And it's an emotion that's felt, a connection that's felt, that you try to do your best to describe, but you can't. The best way I can describe it is by giving examples and analogies like that. So there'll never, ever be a substitute for it. The old cliche quote of leaders are born at events. It's true. Cliches are cliches for a reason, because they're timeless principles, and that's a timeless principle that won't change. Yes, we can bring in more people to our business. We can expose more people to our business because of social media. But then in the end, the true connection is going to come from those type of events like you just mentioned, Sarah.
Yeah. I make that analogy with comedy shows. I love to go to comedy shows. And have you guys ever been to one and like it's so funny, and then you come home and try to tell somebody like the punchline or tell them the joke, and they're like,
it just doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's the same kind of thing. You go to an event and you feel the energy, you look around and you see who's there and like, wow, and whatever was said that kind of resonated with you, and then you come home and try to like explain it, and someone's looking at you like, what were you doing? Why? What? Did you join a cult? What's happening?
You're like, you just had to
Here we
be
go.
there. You just had to be there.
No, you don't get it.
That's the fault. I like this. I like this conversation about social media being a time waster, and I just like for me, I've always thought of it in 2 camps. I really believe that you're either a narcissist or a voyeur in some ways on social media, and the people who are out just liking and scrolling and trolling and creeping and whatever else is going on, or and I grew up in a creative field, so I create things, I build brands and create videos, and everyone is a videographer and a content creator and an artist today because of the tool set. So you can waste so much time in either camp, it seems, when it's really a supplement, or it's accretive to your business, but they really can't replace the personal development, the personal connections, the culture, the community, the friendships, the mentorship, the mindset, the mastermind kind of approach of what this industry has to offer. And that was a huge shift for me as well. So I think you bring up some interesting points there.
Yeah, it's like everything, right? You just got to learn how to use it right. Write down what the strengths are, write down what the weaknesses are, write down what the purpose is. Track, if you're someone that struggles with it, track the end of the week, how long you're on it. Like I do it with Instagram. I look every single week and I look how much time I was on. And the other thing I'll say is this: be more of a producer and less of a consumer. Too many people are consumers and not producers. If you want to be a top earner, or even not a top earner, you just want to maximize your time, and let's say your goal is to make $200 or $300 a month, well, the quickest way to do that, of course, is do the income producing activities. But if you're on social media, think of how do I become more of a producer and less of a consumer, and that'll make a tremendous difference.
What would you say, so in all your years, and not only just your experience personally in the field, but everything that you've been doing with coaching and working with mentoring leaders and corporate executives and stuff, I'm going to ask you two questions. One, what would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned, right, in the industry, if you can think of something, or one of the biggest lessons? And what is the biggest thing that you wish other people would know or understand?
Yeah, I would say, it's tough. I would probably say answer that question in similar ways, but with a different answer, just depending on, the day and what you're reading and what you're thinking about. But I would say fail forward faster. You can't stop becoming the broke know-it-all, right? It's like, the 72.9 ways the compensation plan pays. I know all of them. I got them memorized. And I know also, the magical ingredients we have. I know the pending patents. I even know the number of the pending patent. And people become the broke know-it-all. And so you can't become a professional pianist from watching YouTube videos on how to play the piano. You got to actually play the piano. And watching YouTube videos can help enhance that, but you still got to understand that training doesn't work. Work trains. You want to get better at inviting, following up, closing, make more new invites. And then you can spend 10% of the time studying how you can become better at it. But too many people in network marketing get stuck in the learning, and they don't take enough action, and they hope that somehow, some way, they'll sponsor someone that will do all the work, that will do all the sponsoring and recruiting, and then they can just be supportive and do the trainings and recognition and make everyone feel good, right? Everyone wishes that. So I would say that's the biggest learning lesson. And when I have gone all over the world and spoken to these top leaders and even people that haven't had success, it really boils down to two simple reasons why people don't have success, which is it's so stupid simple, but we're going to simplify it all. They don't talk to enough new people about the products or business, number one. Number two is they don't do enough third-party validations. I don't care if that's a three-way call, three-way chat. I don't care if it's a Zoom. I don't care if it's in person. There's power to that timeless principle. And almost always, if they're doing those two things, their business ends up working. I can't guarantee when. I don't know how long it's going to take. But it's those two things that they try to avoid at all costs and fill in the gaps and the voids with everything else they can. And they wonder why they don't have success.
Isn't that crazy that it really is that simple? It's a numbers game. It's impossible for everybody you talk to say no. It's impossible for everyone you talk to ghost you or, whatever, right? So if you're not having the level of success, then you just got to bring more people into the funnel, put more poles in the water to catch more fish. It sounds so stupid simple, like you said, but it's the truth. And, and also probably learning how to view that no or that ghosting is kind of a neutral, not so much, taking that personal, like, oh man, I knew nobody really wanted this product, or I'm horrible. I'm a bad person. I just never should have, got up this morning. It's crazy the way that we justify or talk to ourselves sometimes when, things aren't going our way. So I think that's all amazing. Before I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here, just random questions, if you don't mind. But before that, tell us a little bit about what you're up to now. I know you're doing some masterminds. I saw you were going to have a mastermind in Dubai. Hello, excuse me. What?
Yeah. It was like, it came through priority mail. Did the invite not show up?
No, I got it.
I didn't get mine.
Excuse me. So tell us a little bit. What is this whole program, and what do you spend the bulk of your time doing these days?
Yeah, probably the biggest, most important thing I do by far are masterminds. I'm the person, I just love the small type intimate settings. I feel like you truly get to know people. There aren't surface questions. You're not just training at someone, right? Preparing for thousands of people. you get to go back and forth on things and have real breakthroughs. And so the first one I did, I had everyone come. And when I mean everyone, I mean top earners, people that had never made any money. And it was a little bit hard because you had such different levels. And then I separated it. So I do a Leader of Leaders one, and that one is the next one's in Dubai, and that's all 6, 7, and 8 figure earners. I think we'll have eight leaders that make over $1 million a year, which is extremely rare, as you both know, in our profession. And so we'll have a total of probably 50 that are going to be there at that. And then I'll do a mindset one, and that'll be in Sundance, Utah in January.
Ooh,
and
I love Sundance.
Yeah, Sundance is great.
I love Sundance.
Cool.
We've got a family cabin up there that's been in the family for 45 years, and I was just there this weekend, and we get to go up there all the time. Just that's my place. Everybody's got their happy place. That's my place. And so
that's one of my happy places too.
Yeah,
I love it there.
You got to have them, right? And that's for me, my main focus is masterminds. And then after that, of course, the other is public speaking, coaching, writing books, all this stuff on the side. And my part-time job is I coach my kids tennis. I do both the boys and girls high school teams. So 5 months out of the year, that's 25 hours a week. And
wow,
that's been a ton of fun as well.
Yeah. So is there a book number 7?
Yeah, I've got to write when we're done here. I got to review the draft. We're 95% done. I'm optimistic that best case scenario, it comes out in January, worst case February. It's going to be on leadership too.
Leadership. Oh, amazing. All right.
Awesome.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you, and I love that you gave us some time. And I just think that you are a really good representative of the industry as far as, positive and real and relevant. And so I just appreciate you. And I know that our listeners will as well. But a couple questions for you. One is, what is the best piece of advice you got from a mentor?
Ooh. I would say the best piece of advice that I received was to invest in yourself. That's the greatest asset that you can have. And my mentor told me, he's made over $30 million, and he said this to me before I started network marketing. He said, true wealth is ability. It's not what you have in the bank. And I've never, ever forgotten that. And I still read/listen to at least 50 books a year just because I'm always trying to become better and learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And what is a hidden talent? And you can't say tennis now because we all know.
Oh, great.
That maybe nobody knows about you, or just your inner circle might know now. Just your inner circle. And
yeah. Hidden talents would be, I would say
it's pickleball, isn't it?
The game. No, I mean, because I could go sports. Anything that has a paddle or a racket, I can do pretty well at.
Yeah, that's
tennis.
I was going to say that's also cheating. Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, that's cheating. So if we're going to do something that's like totally random, that's going to sound so nerdy and dorky, and I don't even care, is the game board, the game called Settlers of Catan. I'm freaking good at it. Like, you play speed card games, I don't play them because I don't like playing games I'm not good at. That's a little known fact. My wife just cleans up. She's awesome. But Settlers of Catan, we play with 10 different couples, and we keep track, and we keep score, and I'm number one. So that's a game I'm good at.
Ooh, what about you, Bob? What's your hidden talent? I know you got.
I mean, do we have time for this, Sarah?
Oh, we do. I'm making time. We'll edit this thing.
No, I am pretty talentless in many ways, shapes and forms. Gosh, I make a mean, gluten-free chicken parm. That sounds pretty benign, but that's quite a feat.
Why'd you have to go ruin it with the gluten-free?
Well, my wife has some allergies to it, so I married a woman who doesn't eat fish and doesn't like Italian food. I don't know if I missed that chapter during the courting process.
Bait and switch.
yeah. So I've come to learn to make wonderful food in non-allergic ways. Which is one of my hidden talents.
I mean, that kind of counts, right, Sarah? It kind of counts.
Yeah, I'm going to let it slide.
I have a gold record. I don't know. Does that count?
I was going to say, I feel like I know some well, maybe I'm not sure if we've talked about them in another episode. We're just going to have to feed these baby birds one episode at a time, Bob.
Are you the Headbangers Ball?
Yeah.
Inside joke podcast.
Well, I appreciate your time, Rob. And of course, it's always nice to chat with you, Bob, and all of our listeners. We really appreciate. Make sure that you check out. Hey, give us if we are our listeners, we're going to check out one of your books, Rob. Which one would you recommend?
The Game of Conquering. Read the first chapter, and if you don't like it, stop reading it.
Is it like The Purpose-Driven Life, where at the very beginning, this is not about you, and you're like, oh, you're just hooked. Like, well, what is it about then?
I can't give it away. That's my pitch. Read the first chapter if you don't like it. But that book is, those books just heart and soul. And my next book I'm extremely excited about. Maybe more people will like it, but for me, that's my book.
I love it. All right.
That's really cool.
Check it out.
Great to have you, Rob.
Thanks for popping on. Everyone,
thanks for having
an
me, guys.
amazing day. And until we talk again, be well.
Thank you for listening to Getting to the Root of It. If you enjoyed today's show, visit gettingtotherootpodcast.com to access information about our guests and to sign up for our newsletter. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.